So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a little bit about the Apollo.
Находимся на стенде компании Universal Audio, и сейчас будет презентация нового интерфейса Apollo.
So, what's the Apollo? It's an interface. It's a Swiss Army knife for audio. Right? When it came out, it changed basically the way interfaces were understood. Because first, it's really high-level conversion, great sounding converters, and then it has everything you need to be able to make music. 4 mic trees, 8 line ins and outs. It's got digital I/O. It's got a monitor section for the speakers, Q system. It's got, of course, interface connection to your computer, and DSP built in. What happened is it changed everything by making it possible to track through plugins in real time. So traditionally, you would go to the studio, plug your microphone into a preamp, the preamp into a compressor, hardware, and then plug that into your converter. Here with the Apollo, you can plug your microphone into the Apollo, and the preamp and the converter, and the preamp and the compressor are all in the box. And it's real time, and there's no latency. And it's a UAD quieting. So not only can you do that in real time on the way in, but you can also use the Apollo as your processing device for the session.
Universal Audio Apollo обладает встроенными DSP для обработки сигналов, и вы можете использовать их при записи в реальном времени. Интерфейс, аудио-интерфейс работает посредством Firewire, но он еще может работать посредством протокола Thunderbolt.
It's like having a PCI card for your laptop. It's very, very fast. It's also high bandwidth and very robust. So when they released the card, it was the very first Apollo Thunderbolt interface, and it has 2 ports on it, which means that you can daisy chain several units. So for example, you can have 2 of these together, cascading, and then behave as 1 unit. So you put 2 in the rack, you connect them, and it's 1 unit. So that allows you to have 8 mic pre's, 28 in and outs together, 4 headphone stands. It's all, it turns it into a system more than just one interface. And also because there's 2 ports on all the interfaces, you can add, say, a chassis with an octo in it, or a screen, or a hard drive, because Thunderbolt does all sorts of peripherals. So basically they went from having the best selling interface and the most functional interface
существенно расширить количество входов выходов, и они будут работать в качестве одного интерфейса. Это очень здорово.
What they've done for 1 year. Well, first they sold a lot of these, they got a lot of awards, and then they made this.
Сейчас перед нами новинка Apollo 16.
So it's in the name. The Apollo 16 is an Apollo, 16 is over here. The Apollo 16 is an Apollo, but it has 16 inputs and outputs.
Apollo 16 это интерфейс Universal Audio Apollo, и у него 16 входов и выходов, плюс есть мониторная секция. Есть входы-выходы AS-IVO, и опциональный интерфейс Thunderbolt.
Say if you are a musician or a composer and you work by yourself in a room, and you don't need to record big amounts of stuff, like say a full band, you go with the Apollo. It has everything in it. It has your Q system, your monitor section, your preamps, everything is in it.
Все, что нужно для записи,
у вас есть. You already have a console, or you have a lot of outboard mic pre's, or you have your own Q system and you do full bands, then your Apollo 16 is yours. That's the way to go. On top of that, just like you can put 2 Apollos together, you can also put 2 Apollo 16 together. What that does is it gives you a full system with 32
Точно так же, как с Apollo, с обычным Apollo, вы можете каскадировать 2 Apollo 16.
It's pretty crazy. And of course, the DSP, the real-time processing, and all that stuff. So, composer, single-person facilities, studios, bigger facilities.
Таким образом, вы можете, если вы музыкант, студия, группа, вы можете использовать без каких-либо проблем этот конвертер.
More or less. This is a more unique version. This version shows you that the center of the studio is the computer and the Apollo. The speakers are connected to the Apollo.
Сейчас нам продемонстрируют сессию. Вот в данном случае на дисплее мы можем видеть диаграмму
And I'm also using the console for sunning. Today I'm using an API console, the 16-way. It's right here. It's not here for decoration and to make people pay attention. I'm actually using it to pass audio. Okay? So the way I have it is I have a session right here, and I have every output is routed to one of the outputs of the Apollo. Those 16 outputs are routed to, to one of the inputs of the console. So I have 16 lines coming from the bottom of Apollo, right, into every channel of the console, so I can mix my song here.
Ну вот сейчас он рассказывает, что при помощи Apollo он может выводить 16 каналов, которые идут в консоль. Ну и он может сводить прямо в консоль.
And I'm recording that track. Okay? So
Ну и
I'm
плюс
using the
трек с консоли API возвращается обратно.
to feed into my console, and also as a recorder to record the output of the console. I'm also using the Apollo to power all these plugins, about 40 plugins right here. And I'm also using the Apollo as a real-time effects unit. Let me show you. This is the UA console. The UA console gives you one channel per input. Every channel here is an input on the Apollo 16.
Здесь вы можете настраивать различные маршрутизации. Ну вот в рамках проекта он будет использовать Apollo еще в качестве эффекта процессора.
Everything in one console. Everything works as one unit. All right?
Когда вы каскадируете несколько устройств, говорят, они работают как один.
That is where I insert my analog. Sorry, that is where I insert my real-time plugins. So say if I want a compressor on something, I just insert it here. Where's the compressor? So many plugins.
В этой контрольной панели вы можете использовать плагины в реальном времени.
Through this compressor in real time and get recorded in the DAW in real time with no latency. Okay? Still with me? Alright. Magda knows. She's been real time before. Alright. So now, I happen to love the reverbs from UA, especially this one. That's my favorite. Okay? Since the new Apollo system has 4 stereo cues that you can route however you want, what I did is, let me think for a second. I'm going to feed the aux samples from the API console into the Apollo. And it's going to come in on, say, channel 1516. I'm going to put a real-time reverb on it. And then I'm going to take the output of that and send it to Q4, which I send it to output 1516, which I connected to the aux return on the API.
Вот сейчас он расскажет о том, что он берет Send API, отправляет на Apollo, где будет установлен ревербератор, и сигнал будет возвращаться обратно. То есть вы можете использовать Apollo в качестве эффект процессора. Да, как ревербератор, который работает в реальном времени.
Because it's as many plugins as you want. Isn't that wonderful? So for example, if I go back to my session, and I play it here, and I'm going to solo the percussion. Let's see where we are otherwise. Give me 1 second. Now I see. So just my percussion. I have my aux 7/8 here. If I open just the EMT, and here we go. Big bunch. The 250. The context. I like that. So I'm basically using this as a real-time reverb unit with the 4 aux amps on the API console.
Сейчас можно было услышать, как используется Universal Audio в качестве Universal Audio Apollo в качестве эффекта процессора.
One drummer when you want it to be very loud because he's deaf. One bass player where he only wants the bass and nothing else because that's all he cares about. one guitar player will put absolutely no guitar in it, otherwise he stops playing. And then one for the singer where you put just the vocals. That way you're safe. Everybody is happy. All right, so you're starting to understand the routing a little bit and the possibilities of these boxes because of their real-time capabilities. If you look at this session, for example, right now I have about 60 voices and about 40 plugins. Anything between just the standard EQ to tape emulation, everything that UAD offers runs on the Apollo, okay? So this session actually is a little more intense than it seems. We actually recorded a lot of strings because it's a string based kind of song. And since we didn't have any money, we went to record a string quartet instead of full orchestra. So I'm going to turn the string quartet on, but since we wanted an orchestra song, we recorded the string quartet 7 times, right? And layered it. So it looks like this. So I just added another 60 tracks. So now my session is 120 tracks, and I have high-pass filters on every track because I like to, get rid of the garbage. So now I have about 100 plugins. By the way, I can show you how we recorded this stuff. It's here. Like this. We went to Avatar in New York. I used a pair of Coles, which are ribbon microphones for the far rooms. Then I used a pair of Sheps for Colette for the near rooms.
Идет рассказ о том, как они подготавливали этот проект.
But the thing that's cool is I went to Avatar, which is the biggest studio in New York, with my laptop and 2 Apollos.
Запись производилась только при помощи лаптопа и 2 Apollo.
Here to feed the string players, Magda, who was directing, and me, who was trying to listen to music at the same time. So we did this full session with this huge session, all with 2 Apollos and 1 laptop and a bunch of cables, which is pretty cool if you think about it. How does it sound? Good question. Let me show you. It sounds like this. I'm going to solo the strings. This is the sound. I'm going to string solo. We had fun that day, let's just put it that way. So, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm playing this huge session. Why don't we make it even bigger? I have background vocals here. So here are 16 tracks of background vocals on top of everything else. And with a bunch of plugins on them. Like I have high-pass filters, and then I also have the new UAD remodeling of all the vintage LA2s. And this is all running at the same time. And if I play this, say on the chorus, you'll notice that my DSP usage is under 20%. With 134 tracks and like 140 plugins. Under 20%. And the system I have here is laptop, 2 Apollo 16s, and a UAD Octo in a chassis, and everything is connected via Thunderbolt to the laptop. Very portable, very easy to use.
Сейчас он говорит о том, что в этом проекте используется очень-очень много дорожек, свыше 130 дорожек, 2 Apollo и карта Octa, и использование ресурсов очень большое. И все работает на лаптопе при помощи соединения по Thunderbolt.
In most situations, when you have a session like this, you run a high buffer, like 1024 samples, because you have a lot of stuff to manage with the computer, right? When your buffer is at 1024 samples, how are you going to record a singer? You can't. It's going to have a lot of latency. With a UAD system, you can. You can because it's a no latency recording environment. Let me show you. I have the Shure SM7 microphone plugged into the API console. The direct out of this channel, this is a big microphone.
Universal Audio вы можете работать с очень низким буфером, соответственно, у вас практически не будет никакой задержки.
As you can see it, when Magda says hello,
Hello.
You get sound on input 7, where we rehearsed. All right. So, as I said before, I can actually put effects in real time on Magda while she sings. So, for example,
при этом вы можете еще добавлять на входной сигнал
high pass, a little high end, a little bottom. Nice. Maybe compression.
J'adore tes lèvres sucrées, je meurs de tes goûter. Je tremble comme tu
можно в реальном времени добавить эквализацию и динамику. Все это будет в реальном времени без каких-то задержек. Можно еще добавить реверберацию.
So I'm using one of the accents.
Sur ton corps fait le caramel. Donne-moi, 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 je veux du caramel.
Let's record that.
Можно сделать также сцену, тоже добавить туда 10 плагин. Все это будет без каких-либо задержек. Попробуем записать вокал.
Caramel, donne-moi, donne-moi ton caramel. Caramel, donne-moi, donne-moi ton caramel. Fondant, fondant dans ta bouche. J'adore tes lèvres sucrées, je meurs de te goûter. Je tremble quand tu me touches. Dans ta bouche fond le caramel.
I think that's good enough for jazz, right? Yeah, not bad. All right. So, why don't we add the accordion while we're here?
Давайте добавим сейчас
The accordion actually
аккордеон.
qualifies as an instrument. Here. You can plug it in. And the good thing is that it's not heavy at all. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, just like with the vocal, the accordion is plugged into an input of the API. Direct that is going into input 8. As you can see here, let's add some a little bit of compression.
Так же, как с вокалом,
Very nice. I'm going to put the track in record here.
аккордеон подключен в API, который ведет сигнал, с которого идет в Apollo, на котором установлен также плагин компрессии. Все в реальном.
In the session, 140 plugins in the session. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 real-time plugins on top of the 140 DAW plugins, and Apollo takes care of that completely by itself. You don't have to think about it. We're using real-time reverb in the console. We're summing in the console, we're recording in the Apollo, and we're recording a fantastic human being in real time, all without latency.
Плюс
All without latency. And all that
свыше 140
at
плагинов,
2488K,
плюс
just because we can.
6,
On
8
the
или
laptop,
8
it's
плагинов в
insane.
реальном времени,
And
которые
because
используются.
we can, and because I'm sure you're missing
И
out
все
big time
это
for not being
отслеживается еще
in New York
без
for the recording
каких-либо
session of the strings. We
задержек.
also have full HD video running at the same time while we record. How's that? He doesn't believe me. You're a skeptic, I can tell. All right, you don't believe me either? The hard drive it's just on the built-in drive. I just dropped it on the inside drive with, I don't know, probably solid state. It's a lot of processing for your laptop. It's just solid state, I'm sure. Okay, you want to play some music?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, she says. Here we go. Is it gonna crash? I don't think so.
Что, сделаем запись? Он сказал, что
Donne-moi, donne-moi ton caramel. Caramel, donne-moi, donne-moi ton caramel. Fondant, fondant dans ta bouche. J'adore tes lèvres sucrées, je meurs de te goûter. Je tremble quand tu me touches. Dans ta bouche fond le caramel. Caramel, donne-moi, donne-moi ton caramel. j'adore ce petit enfant qui élève inconsciemment sur mon corps ce désir pour ton parfait caramel. Donne-moi, je veux du caramel. Sur ton parfait caramel. Donne-moi, je veux du caramel. Aimez-moi, donne-moi un caramel. Donne-moi, je veux du caramel. Sur ton parfait caramel. Donne-moi, je veux du caramel. Aimez-moi, donne-moi un caramel. Donne-moi, je veux du caramel. Sur ton parfait
Magda. All right. And of course, Universal Audio Apollo and Apollo 16. If you have any questions, ask me, or ask somebody with a Universal Audio shirt. If you want to know prices, I don't know prices. All right, thank you very much. We'll be back at 2, which is like now, like in 35 minutes. Thank you very much.